Good morning again, and welcome to the fourth hour of the Greg Belfrage Show. It's great to have you along. Thank you so much for being here. Very much appreciated. Got a number of stories to share with you here this morning. These are new since the radio show this morning. I wanted to mention this on the air. I actually have this in the staff of stuff. Border Patrol agents say there will be an exodus if Kamala Harris wins. One agent said, "I'm not doing this crap again." He told the New York Post, 4 more years of hell. The agent is not near the age of retirement. He said that he is absolutely sure he will leave if Harris wins in November. Another agent says, a lot of guys who can retire will go. If Trump wins, they'll stay. And he said he believes those agents who are more experienced with decades on the job will use their skills to get other jobs. And he said, we will have another max exodus just because we will have a bunch of 20-year agents saying peace out. So in other words, done, out of here. So Border Patrol agents are saying if Kamala Harris wins the race, they're out. They will quit they will quit. Which I don't think, at least I don't find that I don't find that incredibly shocking. I don't find that to be very surprising. Also, Donald Trump, and this is the interview that's going to air on Fox News with Harris Faulkner this morning, and a little more detail. Not too much, but a little bit from the post-millennial, where they say Trump's making a play for the female vote at this women's only event. So I'm interested in what the mothers are saying. Mother from Milton told Trump that her child tax credit has decreased by nearly 80% over the last 3 years. The lowest cost of daycare for one child is $1,400 a month. That's for one child. Can you imagine that? Ouch. She said she could no longer afford to keep up with the cost due to inflation. And she asked Trump what adjustments he would make so that parents could more easily afford to have kids. And Trump said he considered affordable child care to be a top priority. And he said that he had doubled the child tax credit with the help of Ivanka during his presidency. And he asserted that he supports another generous child tax credit, saying it's something that we've got to get done. Trying to see what these women are saying. This is a mother of 3 who struggled with infertility. Trump told her he wholeheartedly supports in vitro fertilization treatments. And he is outwardly against any state that would attempt to ban IVF. And he says he has at least one child who was conceived through IVF. He said Republicans are totally in favor of the treatment. He said conservatives are pro-family. They want to increase the number of children that they have. And Trump said, while he was out on the campaign trail, and I've talked about this, I've shared this because this story has been trending. Trump promised that he would have IVF treatments covered by either by taxpayers or through insurance. I'm interested in what the women are saying here. The women were also concerned about public safety. Who isn't this day and age? They were talking about the rise in violent crime. Trump addressed that. Mother of a college student who attended the same university as Laken Riley. You remember her? She was murdered by an illegal immigrant while she was out for a run. She asked Trump how quickly he could remove the migrant criminals from the United States so that Americans could feel safe in their communities again. Isn't that incredible? You've got women saying, can you imagine this? I don't feel safe in my community. I don't feel safe. And that's what women are saying. So, again, this is the town hall that Trump actually did yesterday, and that's the one that will air at 10 a.m. this morning Central Time on Harris Faulkner's show, Faulkner Focus on Fox News Channel. So that'll be coming up a little bit later this morning. I mentioned this story earlier during the radio show this morning with Bloomberg, and this is a different piece. Donald Trump was on with the editor in chief of Bloomberg, and this is a great piece at the Blaze. They're saying leftist publications have tried to desperately spin Trump's interview yesterday with the editor in chief of Bloomberg as a botched job on the part of Trump. It was anything but that. Trump was shining, and in fact, the audience members who were there were cheering on Trump. They were cheering Trump. And they say, and you can see this, audience members who were present cheered on, Trump's reactions to John Micklethwait. In fact, they noticed that he was, you got to give Micklethwait credit that he stood up. He was not sheepish at all. He asked his questions. I appreciate that. Appreciate people being, but the audience happened to love Trump's responses. So they got into it, and I talked about this a lot on the program this morning. I thought this was one of the big stories of the day. Trump talking about his tariff strategy. There's an example here. Here we go. I hadn't seen this in other stories. Trump said, you ready? John Deere, great company. They announced about a year ago they're going to build big plants outside of the United States. They're going to build them in Mexico. That's right. I said, if John Deere builds those plants, they're not selling anything into the United States. So then, following this, the Wall Street Journal reports John Deere has not yet axed its Mexican ambitions. However, Trump potentially winning re-election might slow them down. They haven't done it yet. So if Donald Trump wins, they're sure not to. Trump said, he said, he was asked, how does it help you take on China, turning all of your allies against you? And Trump said, tremendously, because China thinks we're a stupid country, a very stupid country. They can't believe that somebody finally got wise to them. Not one president charged China anything. They said, oh, they are a third world nation. They are developing. Well, we're a developing nation too. Take a look at Detroit. Take a look at our cities. We have to develop more than they do. Trump said, our allies have taken advantage of us more so than our enemies. He said, he went on. So it's pretty good. Again, tariffs was the big thing. Trump, I laugh at Trump's responses. The Micklethwait said, people like the Wall Street Journal, who's hardly a communist organization, they've criticized you on this as well. Trump says, what does the Wall Street Journal know? They've been wrong about everything. So have you, by the way. So Trump standing pretty firm during that interview. Steve's got a comment here. I want to share this with you. That right there is why our allies are mad at us. They take advantage of us, and they're terrified that the money pipeline to Europe will dry up under Trump. Exactly right. Absolutely right. Steve, I think you're right on target, man. Okay, there was another story with Kamala Harris here um, that I want to share with you this morning. Excuse me. Oh, the Biden Harris administration. This is actually coming from the Biden administration, threatening an arms embargo against Israel. The administration has been none too happy with Israel. And so they threatened then to restrict military aid to Israel unless it takes steps to improve what the White House called a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. First of all, this administration could not wage a war if they had to. If a war was thrust upon them, um, they could not wage it. And you're seeing this. Israel, the strength of Israel is just absolutely incredible. I've talked about that at length on the air. I think Benjamin Netanyahu has just been absolutely incredible in the way that he has stood up for Israel despite world opinion and has said as much. He has made it very, very clear that he is going to do what he believes is right, and his polling is going up. It's one of the reasons why I've been talking about it. When you see leaders who are unafraid of public opinion and believe in their people and want to make sure that their people are safe and so on, and you look then at the reaction from the Democrats in this country, wow, it's just mind-blowing to me. I just watched this and this response from this administration and the heat that they put on Israel. And Israel is basically said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but Israel has basically said, hey, we don't care if we lose every friend we have. You know, we are going to stand firm. We are going to defend our people. We are going to defend our country. And again, we don't care if that offends you. So now the U.S. that's willing to spend money on Ukraine and just about everything else. Now Benjamin Netanyahu is going to persist in this. We're going to stop the U.S. aid to Israel. I'll be watching this story to see what comes of that, because that certainly is something that, in my opinion, is definitely worth covering and talking about. There was one other piece this morning at Breitbart that I want to share with you. And this is a study that was done by the Government Accountability Institute. It's election season in America, and that means early voting, absentee ballots, making sure your voter registration is current. Mine is. Thank you very much. So a new report from the Government Accountability Institute counts at least 50 threats to election integrity. Is this just hysteria, or what do you think? Now, I'm curious to get your thoughts on that. How concerned are you about election integrity? I'm asking very seriously. I'd appreciate your comments. And you can email me anytime. Greg.Belfrage@KELO.com is my email address. Greg.Belfrage@KELO.com. So this report categorizes 50 different threats to election integrity. The influence of dark money, lawfare operations. I think we're going to see a lot of that lawfare. Voter fraud, election fraud. And they get into this in more detail. And it depends on the state. Anyway, I thought you might find that a little bit interesting. The story is at Breitbart. Breitbart News has got the story that's their above the fold story this morning. Have you been watching what's going on? Steve said he's not concerned about this in South Dakota, election integrity. I try not to get worked up about other states because there's nothing I can do about it. I kind of feel like you. You just worry about your own state. And as you watch other states, you kind of go, God only knows what's going to, what's going to wind up happening in some of these other places. Georgia, I think, has been incredible. Georgia was the first day of voting in Georgia yesterday, and the number of votes that came in was over double what they had in 2020. It was more than double. 300,000 people who had voted and voted early. That's one of the other questions that I have on my mind. How many of you are voting early? Do you plan on voting early? It's something that I've talked about. Katie and I both discussed it, getting in and doing it, and just make sure, okay, we're done. We got our votes in. Boom, it's over, and and you're done. Getting them in ahead of time. How important do you think that will be? Again, I always welcome your thoughts on any of these issues. You can drop me an email anytime. greg.belfrage@kelo.com is my email address. So that's all that I've got for you that's new today. Remember, I want to remind you, we've got Donald Trump appearing with Harris Faulkner this morning at 10. And then Kamala Harris will appear on Brett Baer's program coming up this afternoon at 5. Both of those will be on Fox News Channel. Do you plan on watching either one of them? It'll be interesting to me to watch how Kamala Harris responds under questioning from Brett Baer. This is not ABC News. This is not CBS News. Brett Baer is a much more serious journalist, I think, than many. He is one, at least in my opinion. You tell me if I appreciate your comments if you think I'm wrong, but I believe that Brett Baer is one of the fairest guys that's out there. And honestly, I'm surprised that she's doing the interview. I never thought she would. Just her fear of any kind of debate on Fox News, which would have been likely would have been Brett Baer. And then, and I forget her name. She's got her own show on Fox. She winds up doing a lot of the debates with Brett Baer. Martha McCallum. Yeah, Martha McCallum. So she wouldn't do a debate on Fox. I'm surprised she's doing this sit down with Brett Baer. And it's going to be a excuse me, pretty fast turnaround because they're going to record it then later this afternoon, just prior to airtime. And this will be like a half-hour interview that he'll be doing with her. They're going to air it completely unedited, which will be interesting because the last interview that she did, I have told you about the edits and the different answers. Same question, different answers on the during the 60 minutes. Yeah, it was the 60 minutes interview that she did. There'll be none of that Brett Baer is promising on Fox. It will be a completely unedited interview. And that to me sounds interesting. How will she appear with Brett Baer again, who's a pretty tough questioner? He's fair. I mean, he's not like a in your face kind of, but he's a tough questioner, and he stands pretty firm. He's not going to put up with any malarkey. So it'll be interesting to see how she handles that. This will be, I think, she can either really impress some people or really fall flat. And the thing about Fox News, it's interesting to note, there are a number of independents who watch Fox News. So this likely would be, Fox News Channel is the most watched news channel out there. So likely be broadly watched anyway. But among independents, they're watching Fox News Channel. A lot of them are. And it'll be interesting to see then what effect that has on the independent vote after the interview with Brett Baer tonight. So I'm going to leave it there for now. Hope you'll join me coming up again tomorrow. Don't forget to hit the like button before you leave. So have a great Wednesday. See you again tomorrow, my friend. So long.